Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of Clearly Thriving. I'm Allison Clay,
And I'm Siri Harkins.
and we are thriving. Clearly. Siri, what are you drinking today?
Today I am drinking a refreshing Diet Coke from Allison's fridge.
Yay! I have a refreshing Diet Dr. Pepper from Allison's fridge, which, if it didn't work, just know it sounded really nice.
Chicken.
So Siri, how was your day? How was your week? How was your life?
Basically like that.
Fair.
This week has felt so weird. I've just been like more tired this week, and that just makes me like a little bit more cranky. Not that I've been like really cranky, but just like mildly. So today, when we are recording this anyway, is homecoming at the school I work at. And I was totally gung-ho about being there, like so amped. And then today came around and I'm on my way, and I'm like, I physically cannot stay that long today for this. So I did not.
Fair enough.
Sorry, kids.
I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm tired. They're like, miss. And I'm like, I'm so tired.
Lila has a lot of feelings.
Yeah.
Today oh boy, now the cats are fighting. Today I woke up and was gonna watch the new episode of Agatha all along because that's my current Thursday morning routine. And I watched it and I cried. So this is the first episode where I cried. And then when it was over, I was like, I'm like not okay. So I sat on the couch for 2 hours just scrolling TikTok. Like I got to the point where the videos on my For You page were just not for me. And so I closed the app out and then restarted it and it refreshed and it was great.
Oh, good.
So little life hack for those who scroll like me. And then eventually I did get out of bed because I had 2 projects I had to do today for content, and I put those off as long as humanly possible. And then eventually I did them, and after that I was like, I'm gonna stay productive. So then I went through my closet because I'm I'm at like 65 pounds gone now. And so none of my old clothes really fit me much right now. And I just did a massive closet clean out
Yeah.
like a month ago, but it was only bottoms. So it was only like jeans, pants, leggings. And so I was like, I need to do shirts because I am at a point right now where I'll grab a shirt to take to work and then I'll put it on and it's
not quite right.
Yep. So today I was like, I need to do shirts and dresses. So I tried on all of my shirts, which a lot. Well, the ones that I felt iffy on. And then I'm like halfway through my dresses. If you're on YouTube, that's the pile so far. And I still have probably 30 dresses to go through.
Allison has a lot of dresses.
I do. I just have a lot of clothes.
Yes, you do. Which, here's the thing. We are maximalists, in case you didn't already know this. So I don't think there's anything wrong with having clothes or having things.
No.
Like, it's okay to have things.
There has only been, out of all the shirts I got rid of, which I don't even know how to put a number on it, but I got rid of a lot of shirts, which my shirt section of my closet still looks full. So that's great, I guess. But there was only one shirt that I was sad about, and I even looked at it and I was like, is there a way for me to, no? There was just, it wasn't gonna work anymore. And there are a couple dresses that I have kept, but I'm like, I just need to make a couple adjustments.
Yeah.
While I make the adjustments, we'll find out. But that's a substantial pile.
Yes.
Yeah. When I first started going through my shirts, I was like, what if I just have a capsule wardrobe after this? No. I have so much shit left.
I'm like, are you kidding me? We are not capsule wardrobe people.
No. Absolutely not.
Nor would we want to be capsule
No.
wardrobe people.
Controversial opinion. Capsule wardrobes are boring.
They're fucking boring. They are. We're not
Like,
boring. I'm not a boring person. You're not we're not boring people.
please have fun with your clothes.
Like it's really, I don't know why there's that become this obsession with having few things. I think, okay, part of it sometimes stems out of necessity. Like
Mhm.
sometimes you need to have fewer things because your space capacity is smaller. But I don't know, where there's a will, there's a way. I don't think it's bad to have things.
I don't either.
Controversial take.
Anyway, so that's what I did today. And I'm not done. Yeah.
Yeah. I educated the youth. Yeah, we did some coloring sheets and
These are high schoolers.
I had my English learners today. So we did coloring sheets, and then on the back I had a graphic organizer where they had to come up with like a conversation back and forth that had to do with the things we were coloring.
All right.
Um and then my yearbook kids made posters. So it was just a lot of coloring in my classroom. It was great.
Good.
Everyone's like, "Miss, do you have more colors?" And I'm like, "You mean markers or colored pencils?" No, I don't know where they went. Look around the room, I guess. Find a ledge and look there. And then they're like, "Oh, I found one." I'm like, "Yeah." I don't know. I used to have a bunch of these packs of markers, and then the marker boxes started to get like just destroyed last year. So I just dumped them all in like a plastic bin.
Mhm.
I'm like, that's fine. That's what a lot of teachers do anyway. And it works. People just come pick and choose their colors. And I was looking in it today. All of the pink markers are gone. All of them. There are no more pink markers.
It is the best color.
Like some children stole my pink markers. So rude.
That's shit I've like, I can't even be mad at that because same.
No. And this, to be very clear, these markers were all things that people purchased from my Amazon Classroom wish list, and they were purchased with the intention of being used by the children. So I don't care. It just is funny when
Yeah.
it's like, where do these things go to?
I do like that it's all of the
All
pink.
the pink are gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one kid came over and he's like, "Miss, this marker doesn't work." And I was like, or it's
And
like out of
throw
ink.
it
I was like,
away.
"Then throw it away." He's like, "Oh, really?" Yes. It doesn't work. Toss it. Like he's like, "You don't want to look at it." I was like, "Why would I like I
Like,
believe
what
you.
else would we do?
Like, what do you want me to do with it? Like
Like, I'm not a
kiss it and
marker
make it feel better?"
refiller.
Like it's we just throw it away. I'm like, it's not even a name brand marker. Like you said it doesn't work. Throw it in the garbage. And what, oh my gosh, I made one of my other classes made posters and we did like a gallery walk the other day. So they made these posters. Oh my gosh, we did this whole lesson on ethos, pathos, and logos and like persuasion and advertising. And then I wanted them to apply the concepts. So they got in groups and made posters. They got to pick a topic. I gave them some example options. And so most of them selected like screen time and children. So I was like, you need to pick a topic, pick a stance, and try to persuade your classmates using ethos, pathos, and logos appeals. And so they all made posters, and some of them were literally just like, here's the topic, not even their stance on it. And then they just labeled ethos, pathos, and logos and wrote like sentences, and that is it. And then I had some people that got super creative and had like pictures and drawings and really creative sayings. But anyway, so we did like a gallery walk earlier this week. I hung them all up and they had a reflection assignment where they had to walk around and like whatever, they had like a little reflection questions they had to answer. Anyway, so today I've graded them all already, which is miraculous because that's a lot.
Yeah.
I have 3 classes of that. Um, um, it's just a lot. So today as I'm having the yearbook kids make posters, I had so many posters in my room because I had the yearbook posters and then all of these old like posters from my class, and I was like, do you think anyone is going to want to keep their posters? And all these students are like, no. I'm like, all right, great. I'm going to file them away in my very advanced filing system, also known as the garbage. So, anyway, they're filed away.
Yeah.
I did keep a couple out because there were some that were like exemplary. So those stayed, but otherwise they were filed away.
My mom probably still would be like, don't throw that away.
No, it's in the garbage. I have too many students. There were a couple that I kept that weren't that exemplary, but I have a couple of students that I know, like, it's really helpful if I have work samples to show some other
Yeah.
interested parties, whatever you want to call them. So kept some of those because I'm like, this is a good example of their work. But otherwise, I'm like, okay, no, this student is not going to care. This student is not going to care. And I asked one out, I'm like, do you want your poster? No. Okay, cool.
Right.
It's going in the garbage.
In the trash.
Into the trash. And actually, my student even carried it all outside to the trash outside of my classroom. I'm like, marvelous. Thank
Good.
you.
Yep. Oh, did that broken suitcase I gave you, did you toss that in the dumpster?
Yeah, that is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I have access to dumpsters, so
I give her all of my large trash items.
yes. I did bring plants to my apartment last night for my old apartment. Not all of them.
No more than 2.
Yeah, that's true. I don't have more than that.
No. Because that is how many that are allowed in her new apartment. And that is it. There are only 2 there currently.
Yeah, because of mold concerns. So yeah, that's it. So my 2 whole plants have made it over there. But I did have some spider plant propagation, so I did have to bring those in overnight because I was going to leave them. Like I had them in like a big cardboard box that we had been saving so I could fit all of the nursery pots in it. And I was like, okay, I'll just bring that. And I was going to just take it out of the car so it didn't get like weird in the car with the humidity or whatever.
Yeah.
And I put it out like in my parking spot. It's like covered. But then I realized how freezing cold it gets in the morning. And I'm like, that might have killed them. So I did have to bring that inside, but it was just right by the door. And then I brought them out this morning and I gifted spider plants to coworkers. It was a great way to make people's day this morning. People came in and usually I greet everyone and I'm like, hello, like, good morning. And they're like, oh my God, why are you happy? And I'm like, I'm not, I'm just making everybody's day. And like that's what I do during
I hope you say that.
sometimes. It just depends on the day. But I just like walk around and like bother people because like people get stuck in their offices or in their classrooms. And then I just like poke my head in and everyone like they have that like pause moment where they're like, oh my God, what do you need? And I'm like, I don't need anything. I'm just bugging you. How are you? And they're like, oh, I'm okay. And then it's like lightens them up a little bit. So this morning I got to walk in with my box of plants. Actually, DeFrance walked in with me and she carried the plants for me because I was like juggling my coffee and my Stanley.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, like, do you want a spider plant? I do actually. Do you want a spider plant? Yes. And I had one coworker who I was like, do you want a spider plant? And he was like, actually, yes. I meant to go plant shopping yesterday and I didn't get around to it. And I was like, well, here you go. Have a free one.
Good.
Yep.
I feel like it comes from a strong line.
It really does. This is the second round of babies I've gotten from that one plant.
Like this year.
Yeah, like in the past couple months.
Yeah.
There are more. Although I will say I cut off spider plants, if you don't know, sprout babies like crazy. So sometimes you can just leave them on the plant, but I think it takes a lot of the energy away from the plant. So I've been propagating, and then after I cut the last round, I actually cut the stems from where the babies were because it just kept sprouting new babies from the same stem. So I cut the stems. So it'll have to push out new stems if it wants to produce more babies. So it won't be as quick this time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
From my single 1 or 2 plant.
Yep. Just 2.
Just
no more than 2.
uh-huh. I have more at my old place, but they're not gonna get moved over.
Nope. These are illegal plants. Illegal things. We don't do illegal things.
That's very good. I do have fresh cut flowers in my kitchen, which is nice. My kitchen is a disaster. Everything's just like dumped on the counter because I don't have places for everything right now.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a dresser. I don't have a refrigerator. Yeah, that's where we're at. So,
So
but I do have a nice little bouquet of fresh flowers in a vase in my kitchen amidst
good.
the clutter. Like literally my necklace stand is in the kitchen on the counter.
Yeah.
'Cause
You don't have a
I
dresser.
don't have a dresser. I don't have a place to put it. And like my bathroom, I don't have any counter space.
Yeah.
Yep. What else is in the kitchen? Everything is just like in the kitchen. I just throw it on the counter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do what you gotta do.
It is what it is. I do need to get stuff ready. Panini is turning 2
Yay!
next month. So I've decided that for Panini's birthday, I am hosting a Panini party. So I'm gonna have a build your own Panini bar.
Yay!
And I'm actually really excited about it.
Me too, honestly.
I think it sounds so fun. It might become like the new annual thing. Like it'll be like Panini's birthday, but it'll just be like an excuse to have a Panini bar.
Yeah.
Because it's funny because my dog's name is Panini.
Yeah.
Like Mocha doesn't like having parties because she hates people.
Well, Panini likes people.
Panini likes people, so she'll have a great time.
And she can wear a little birthday hat. It'll
Yep.
be so cute.
And I got Panini a new crown
Good.
because the other one technically is Mocha's.
Yeah. Panini needs her own.
Yeah, so Panini has her own now.
Good.
Yep, it's a different color and everything. Same brand though.
Very appropriate.
Uh-huh. It tracks. Lila has a birthday coming up.
Well, yeah, Lila's birthday is in a couple weeks. That's weird. She's gonna be 6.
Oh. Oh no.
Right?
Lila, that's not allowed. I thought you were like 4.
She turned 5 last year.
I didn't remember.
Because I did that whole thing where I was like, she's a whole hand.
Lila, it's just not allowed. Stop getting older.
Winston's 8.
I hate it.
I know.
I don't like it when they get older. It's sad. Yeah, Mocha's 7. That's sad.
I saw a thing on TikTok today talking about Taylor Swift's cats. Meredith, her first cat, is gonna be 14 this year.
What?
And that was my reaction, and then I did math and I was like, no, I guess that's right.
Time is a construct. I forget, like I always feel like COVID didn't, like those years do not exist.
Yeah, they shouldn't count.
But like for my students, those were like a big deal. For us, it was kind of just like whatever. It wasn't like integral years of our schooling or anything that were affected or impacted, but I don't know.
I feel like I missed integral years.
It was just a weird time. And we're still gonna be seeing the impacts. But time is weird. Time is weird. Like, oh, I went to Cinespia. Still feels weird to say it like that.
Yeah.
I found out it is not Cinespia, it is Cinespia. Anyway, whatever. The screenings at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. I saw Trick or Treat. It was great. I had never seen that movie before. If you have not seen that movie before, honestly, watch it. It's Halloween season is the perfect time to watch that movie. It's a great like watch with friends for Halloween kind of a movie. If you like kind of scary movies, but it's like a scary but like funny, but like it's just good. I forgot what I was talking about.
Time.
Oh yeah. So yeah, going to the Cinespia screen, I was like, oh yeah, I've been before. Yeah, I went to see The Matrix in 2014, and I went to see Top Gun for the 4th of July showing that they did in 2015. I was like, it has straight up been 9 and 10 years since the last time I went to a Cinespia screening. Like, that's fucked up. Like, that's not real. 10
No.
years? 10 years since I went to a frickin' Cinespia event at Hollywood Forever Cemetery? That means I hadn't been to the Hollywood Forever Cemetery in almost 10 years.
That's crazy.
Like, that is just wild. Oh, I have a cat.
Oh, he purrs so loud.
Yes. We're gonna see.
All right, let us know if you heard the cat purring or if that was just a weird silence.
Yes. Yeah, this cat purrs
Very loud.
very loud. He's so sweet. Are you a sweet boy?
Say yes since they cut off my balls.
He's a boy.
Friday.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So I went to my parents this past weekend for the christening of their new patio that my dad built. So my flight, I was supposed to fly out of the Burbank airport at 1:50. So Jasenia picks me up on her lunch break and drops me off at the Burbank airport at about 12:30. Which should be plenty of time because I have pre-check and like the Burbank airport is easy. So as I'm getting out of her car, I get a text that says, "Your flight is being diverted through LAX." And I was like, that must be a mistake because that doesn't make any sense. And I was like, I'll deal with that when I get through security. So I get through security. My gate is literally right there. So I get through security and I just see this long line of people waiting for the help desk. And so I asked the girl at the end of the line, I was like, is this for the flight to Denver? Because that's where my connection was going to be. I already knew it was going to be a questionable travel day because for one, I was flying United, and for two, I was going through Denver. Because the only airline that goes into that tiny airport by my parents.
Yeah, that's like the airport by my parents. It's United or Delta.
I don't even think Delta does. American does, but their flights into that airport are really expensive. Anyway, so the girl that I asked if this was for the flight to Denver, she was like, yeah, apparently the plane was going to be overweight. So in order to compensate for that, they dumped fuel. And so now the plane can only get to LAX. And so we're going to go to LAX and refuel and then just get to Denver. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. And she was like, oh, apparently it takes a lot of fuel to get over the mountains. Like the Burbank Mountains.
They're already like up high.
Yeah. I don't know. It didn't make sense. But that's what was happening. So I panicked because in Denver, I only had like a 40-minute layover and maybe half hour. And Denver's pretty big. That's not a lot of time to get where you need to go. And so this LAX stop was going to push the flight back half an hour because landing and fueling and taking off. And so I wait in line with every other passenger on that plane because like everyone else's plans are impacted. So I get up there and I explain the situation to the flight or the desk lady, and she goes, "There's nothing I can do for you." And I was like, "But I'm really worried I'm gonna miss my connecting flight." And she was like, "Well, run fast, I guess." And I was like, "Wow, thank you so much."
Wonderful customer service skills appreciated.
So at this point, they're like yelling at people, like, if you don't get on this plane right now, we're gonna close the gate and you'll just be stuck in Burbank. Because like boarding is done at this point, but there's still like probably 30 people in line behind me that they didn't help. So everyone just starts like panic going. We get on the plane and I get to my seat and then we just don't take off. We just sit there. And then after probably 10 minutes, the captain comes on, the pilot, whatever he is, comes over the intercom and he's like, "Hi, sorry folks. We're now having a mechanical issue. The mechanic is on his way. And that's all I know. I'll keep you updated. So sorry." So then probably 10 minutes later, he comes back on and he's like, "Hi, the mechanic is working on the issue right now. We'll be taking off as soon as he's done. However, we're not going to be landing in Denver an hour and a half later than originally scheduled." He's like, "I understand this might negatively impact your plans. So if you need to get off the plane, please go ahead." Because like we hadn't pulled away from the gate, they hadn't closed the door yet, and so probably half of this plane gets off because like everyone had tight connections in Denver. And now even people who didn't have tight connections, even if you had an hour or
Yeah.
more, you still are it's like an hour and a half by that point, my other plane is gone.
Yeah, they're all gone.
Um,
Anyone's connection.
so half the plane gets off. I call my mom because I'm already overwhelmed from the first, well, run fast of it all. And so I call my mom and I'm like, "Do I need to get off this plane?" And she's like online looking at other flight options because my concern from the moment I got to the airport was that I was going to be stranded in Denver overnight because that was the last flight from Denver to the airport where I was going for my parents. Um, and I was like, "I cannot spend the night at Denver. I cannot, will not, won't do it." And I was telling my mom, like, start driving to Denver, which that's like almost a 12-hour drive. um, but anyway, so my mom's like, "I don't know, I can't find any other flights." And she's like, "Yeah, just get off the plane." And so I get off the plane and eventually the plane leaves. The plane that is now BT Dubs, not overweight, but did it still stop at LAX? I can almost guarantee you. Um, because half the plane is off. So anyway, then we had to wait like 45 minutes for the help desk lady to be able to help us because she had to help board another flight after ours. So then like 45 minutes later, she comes back and she's like dealing with people, and a lot of people are leaving the airport very upset because she's like, "Your next option is tomorrow." And so I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And then eventually another lady comes up and she starts helping people. And I get to that other lady, thank goodness, because the first lady is the one who told me to run fast. And I didn't really feel like saying hi to her again. Um,
No, no, she can eat glass.
yeah.
Um,
So I get to the new lady and she's like, "All right, what was your destination?" And I tell her the airport and she's like, "Unfortunately, that was the last flight going into that airport tonight on any airline because it's such a small airport." And so I'm like, "Okay, well, I could also go into Tulsa or Springfield." And this lady's like, "Where are you going?" Because at this point, we've talked about airports in 3 different states.
yes.
And I'm like, "Listen, my parents live in the middle of the woods. All of these are inconvenient, just in different ways." So she looks at Tulsa, and United still didn't have any flights that would work. But I was like, "What about another airline?" And she was like, "Let me check." And she found a flight on American. And she was like, "Okay, let me see if I can transfer you to this flight, but just know we don't have a contract with American, so like 95% chance it's not going to work." And she tried it and it worked. The only thing was this flight left LAX at 4:30. It's now like 2:30. And I was like, "Okay, how am I getting to LAX?" And she's like, "We'll get you a taxi." So I got a taxi, not an Uber, a taxi. Um, and this guy, I, oh, I thought I was gonna die in this cab. Cause like how he was driving, I was like, "I'm either gonna throw up or die. There is no third option." I did neither, thank God. But I was really worried that I was gonna miss that flight because the flight, like I said, took off at 4:30. We got to LAX at like 3:45.
Oh my God.
And if you know LAX, it takes about an hour just to get through security. But luckily my TSA pre-check transferred to my new ticket. And that's the only way this worked out. So I get there, I like walk right through security, and then I peed because also when Jasenia dropped me at the Burbank airport, I had to pee. Like I was about to pee here, and then she texted that she was here. So I got in her car and then I went to Burbank and then I went to LAX. So I peed 3.5 hours after I originally was trying to. And then I got a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos and a Diet Dr. Pepper because I decided I deserved a treat.
Yep.
And then I ate that at the gate, and then I got on this plane, and then we're taxiing. We're going. Also, this time I'm going through Phoenix, which is so much better than Denver. So I'm like amped. I'm like, yes. So we're taxiing. We're about to take off, and then we just stop taxiing, and then the pilot comes on and he's like, "I'm so sorry, friends. I'm now being told that we are gonna be sitting on the runway for half an hour." And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Because I once again had a really tight connection in Phoenix, which I wasn't as stressed about because it's a smaller airport, but, like, really? And so I pressed the button for the flight attendant, and as do, like, everyone else on that plane, I don't think anyone's final destination was Phoenix. Um, and so she, like, makes her way around, and she finally gets up to me, and I explained, I was like, "I'm supposed to be connecting to the flight to Tulsa. My layover is only, I think it was 30 minutes to begin with." I was like, "I'm really worried about missing that plane." And she was like, "Okay, let me look." And so she looked and she was like, "Okay, even with our new arrival time, you should be able to make it. You should be okay. Just try to relax." And she was like, "There's, I think, 3 other people on this plane who also are making that same connection. So, like, that's a large enough number that they'll hold the plane as long as they can for you guys." And I was like, "Okay, thank you." So anyway, eventually we take off. I don't think it was the full half hour. I think it was probably 25 minutes, which close enough. Anyway, we land in Phoenix and then we have to wait for a gate because of course we do. And this whole time when we land in Phoenix and I take my phone out of airplane mode, I get a notification that my next flight is boarding.
God.
I was so stressed. And so the flight attendant comes over the intercom and she's like, "Hi, everyone. I know everyone wants to get off the plane. However, I have 20 people who have really tight connections. I'm going to read the names off." So she read the names off and she was like, "If I didn't read your name off, please stay seated. Let these 20 people off first because they have places to be." And my name obviously was one of the names. So then when we finally get to the gate and the little ding, where you can stand up, the entire plane stands up. People start trying to get their bags down, and the flight attendant comes back on the intercom and she's like, "What are you doing? Sit down." And so finally people sit down, but I still think people got off that plane that didn't really have to. Um, but anyway, so the 20 of us, probably plus a few, um, we are right there. And then when they open that gate into the terminal, it's like horses at the races, and we just take off running. Like, literally, just like there were people sitting at that gate laughing. 'Cause it was like something out of a movie, I probably would've been laughing too. Um, so I landed at gate A20, and at the Phoenix airport, it's like a long hallway with a bunch of different branches off of it, and it's like A10 through 20 or 11 through 20, then A1 through 10, and then B11 through 20, and then B1 through 10, and I had to be at B4.
Okay.
So I'm sprinting, and also the little conveyor belt walkie thingies are not working. They're shut down, like, even closed, like, blocked off. So I'm sprinting through the Burbank airport with my backpack that probably weighs 30 pounds because I only brought a personal item. I fit 3 days worth of clothes. Yeah, and all my medical supplies, that was the real miracle. Anyway, so I'm sprinting, and that's when I realize that my lungs are in fact not completely recovered from pneumonia because I very suddenly was like, "I'm gonna pass out." So I stop running, and I just am walking quickly, and I'm still like, "Eh." Um, and then as I'm passing like the first B tunnel, not the one I'm going to, I hear over the loudspeaker like final boarding call for flight whatever to Tulsa, and I'm like, Jesus. So I start running again, and as I'm turning, like rounding the corner, or maybe I'm not quite there yet, I don't know, but they're like, if you're supposed to be on flight whatever to Tulsa, if you're not at your gate in 3 minutes, we will be leaving you. And so I'm running again and I get to the gate. It hasn't closed yet. And I'm like, "Did I make it?" And the lady's like, "Yes, you made it. Good job. Take some breaths." And I was like, "There's at least 3 other people on my last flight that are supposed to be here and they're not here yet."
Don't do
Lila.
that.
Um, and she's like, "Well, I can only hold this gate for 90 more seconds." I was the last person on that plane. And I sit down and then start coughing because 'cause I'm dying, and I felt so bad because these people on this plane have been waiting for me, and then I sit down and start coughing, and I'm like, "I promise I don't have COVID, I just have remnants of pneumonia probably.
You're like, I was just running through the airport. That's why I'm coughing.
Sprinting. Anyway, then it takes off and I land in Tulsa at 11:45 at night. I was supposed to land at the original airport at like 5:30 p.m. And the original airport is only an hour from my parents' house. Tulsa is 3. So my parents had to drive 3 hours to pick me up. Then they picked me up, it took me to Taco Bell because I was like, "I want a Mexican pizza." So we get to Taco Bell, and the lady's like, "We're out of Mexican pizzas."
You're like, a fucking course you are.
But they had Baja Blast Zero, which
Okay.
is so that was fine. I got a quesadilla and a Baja Blast Zero. Also, when my dad ordered, he kept saying the diet Baja Blast Zero, and my mom and I were just dying.
It's just the Baja Blast Zero.
Yeah. He really had to make sure they got it.
The one that doesn't have the sugar.
Please and thank you. Um, anyway, so then by that point, it's like midnight when we're leaving Tulsa. So it's 3 a.m. by the time we get back to my parents' house. And also, it's really not safe to drive the last like half hour to their house in the dark because it's windy.
It's so windy.
It's windy and mountainous, and there are deer.
Yeah.
We made it. Anyway, so we get there at 3 a.m. and then the christening started at 11 a.m. the next morning. So we all just rolled out of bed and I was like, I'm not limiting my caffeine intake today. I don't even know how many Diet Dr. Peppers I had. I only had 1 cup of coffee, but I bet I had 9 Diet Dr. Peppers.
Listen, you do what you got to do to survive in these streets. Um,
And I did.
oh my
Anyway,
God.
after that, it was a good trip. I just had to get all the shit out of the way on Friday, apparently. That was probably the most stressful 9 hours of my life because there was like so many points during that day where I did not think I was going to make it.
I was worried.
I was too.
I had Lila. She had a slumber party at my apartment.
Yeah, Lila had a great weekend.
Yeah, she got to hang out with me and the Weens.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was just part of the pack.
She got to go on walkies and go to coffee shops,
Yeah, she went to one coffee shop where she snapped at a lady, so I told her she had to stay home the next day.
which is fair. That is a fair consequence.
Yes.
I think people just see Lila because she's so freaking cute, and they see her and they get excited, and
She gets overwhelmed.
she gets scared.
Yes. So that's, and I did have 3 dogs in a coffee shop. That was maybe a little bit overkill. Um, just loose on their leash. She loved going for walks though. It was great.
Yeah.
Once she figured out that's what was happening. The first
Yes.
time she immediately just like peed on the floor when I was trying to put her leash on. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Oh my God, Lila.
Did you pee on the floor?
Yeah, I went to go put her leash on and she just peed. And
She's like, sorry, I
Right?
got scared.
right in front of the door. And I was like, are you serious right now? So I had to like drag her over because I already had her leash on her. And I wasn't just going to drop the leash because then she was going to drag the leash
Through the pee.
through the pee on the floor.
Yeah.
So I'm like dragging her with me to get the paper towel. And she hated that. She was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I need to get a paper towel to put on your pee so that we all don't step in it on the way out. Anyway, but once and then I carried her down the stairs that first time, and then I realized she can indeed do the stairs.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I just carried her up and down the stairs. But she would go down with the dog. She was always like, "Doo-doo-doo-doo." I'm like, oh, well, look at you.
Yeah.
Yeah. When she figured out like this is the routine, this is what we're doing. She's like, yes, I'm on my walk in the neighborhood. And then she would like go right away and pee and poop, and I'm like, woo, go Lila, go.
She is very good at peeing and pooping.
Appropriately.
Yes.
So is Panini. Yes. Hi.
She had a great time.
Like a baby. Yes, you did. You had fun.
Do you have a slumber party?
And then she got to sit through my class on Monday night. Allison, I think for some reason thought I would bring Lila here before I had to go to work on Monday.
Yeah, I did.
And I was like, no, because then my dogs would freak out all day
Oh, fair.
without her there. So they all got to sit with me through my class. And then I brought Lila over, but I actually brought Mocha and Panini too. They just stayed in the car when I dropped her off. But yeah, one of your roommates was just like, "Oh my gosh, hi Lila. I feel like I haven't seen you in forever." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, she had a slumber party."
Yeah, they told me Monday night when I got home, they were like, "I feel like I haven't seen Lila in forever. It was so quiet while she was gone." And I was like, yeah,
Yeah, because the cats don't bark.
yeah.
Be very weird.
I mean, the cats are pretty loud, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, because yeah, cats.
Winnie howls.
Winnie does make some noises
Yeah.
and eat bread apparently.
Dude. Today, I worked from home today, which means I was mostly in my room. And I went to Target at one point because when I work from home, I like to go to Target in the afternoon and get a kombucha. So I went to Target and got my kombucha and stocked up for a couple more days. So I had like a bag. And I came back in and I opened the gate to let Lila out. And my routine is like when I go to Target, I get my kombucha, I come back, I take Lila outside, she does her business, and then we get back to work.
Yes.
Um, so I open the gate and Lila like runs to the back door because I've said the words. And
Yeah.
I go in the kitchen because I'm going to put the bag on the counter because I'm not going to take the bag of kombucha to the backyard. That's just silliness. Um,
Yes.
and then I'm putting the bag down and I hear her like devouring, scarfing something into her mouth. And so I run back into the kitchen. I'm like, "What are you doing? What do you have?" And I like pry her mouth open with my fingers. And she does not enjoy this. She doesn't want this to be happening. She wants to just eat whatever is in her mouth. And so I pry her mouth open and I'm like, it was nasty too. Um, and I'm touching whatever it is. And it's like stuck to the roof of her mouth. And it's like an entire piece of bread just like crammed into the roof of her mouth. And so I'm like looking at it and investigating, and I'm like, is that bread? Where did that come from? And so eventually I'm like, I mean, all right, sure. So I've let her finish the bread because I couldn't really get it out because it's all crammed into the roof of her mouth. Um,
She's like, "Can I do it again?"
yeah. So she finishes the bread. I stand up, and that's when I see a bag of bread on the table that's just been like sliced and diced 8 different ways.
Ransacked through.
Like 8 different ways this bread has been,
Fantastic.
yes. And I'm just like, well, all right. So put a picture of the massacre in the roommate group chat, and I'm like, I don't know whose this is, but I've made the executive decision to throw it away.
Like, this is why I hope you agree.
And Anne Marie was like, "Oh, that was mine." And I was like, "Well, I'm sorry for your loss."
She was like, I'm sure that was.
Yes, they understood. But like, man, there was just hunks of bread all over the table. And even after I threw the big pieces away, there's a lot of crumbage
There's a lot.
that I still have to clean up. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that'll bring us to the end of this episode of Clearly Thriving. I'm Allison Clay,
And I'm Siri Harkins.
and we are thriving. Clearly.